Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So today we are going to start discussing about the high voltage engineering. Before starting the high voltage engineering, I would like to say one thing. I think that you have idea about the power system network. Okay. And in power system network, we have primarily three major sections. One is power generation section, another one is power transmission section, and finally, we know there is a power distribution system or section. Now, as we all know that in power generation system, we generally generate power using different mechanism. Okay, like we can generate the power using some fossil fuels like some coal or some mineral oil, etc., etc. Similarly, we can use the hydel power plant to generate the electricity. We can use nuclear power plant or some renewable energy power plant to generate the uh, power. And I think you have some idea about the thermal power plant. Can you please tell me one or two name of the thermal power plant? Anyone?
Sir, Kulaghat, Metia Buruj.
Metiaburuz thermal power plant.
Sir, Holdia.
Haldia?
Yes.
Sir,
I don't think.
Kolaghat.
So.
Sir,
Yeah,
Bodhgaya.
Kolaghat thermal power plant. Bezia thermal power plant. Exactly. Sautaldi thermal power plant. From where you can see power plant in Metiaburuz? Who told this? Huh? Have you seen any power plant? I think you should have some. 1 second, 1 second. I'm just connecting my laptop.
Yeah. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I was discussing about the power plant. So you can say Kolakhat power plant, Sautaldi power plant, etc. Now, if I ask you, tell me one or two name for hydel power plant. Can you tell me one or two names?
Messenger, sir.
Okay. Any other? In West Bengal?
Sir, Farakka.
Farakka. Yeah. Any other else? Okay, let's take the Farakka. So do you understand the principle behind it's the generating the hydel electricity using that hydel power plant? You know how this electricity is generated? Okay, tell me one thing. Whenever we say some power plant, that means you know the output is electricity. So for hydel power plant, the input is suppose current. Okay, current means water current. Okay. Similarly, if we consider the thermal power plant, the input is the fossil fuels. Okay. So we have seen in power plant, generally one form of energy is transferred to other form of energy. That means output is electricity, though input is different, like fossil fuels, water, renewable energy, renewable sources of energy, nuclear energy, etc., etc. Another thing is that in this power generating station, the power is generated at a certain voltage. Now, can you tell me, is it the high voltage or the low voltage? How much is the voltage range while we are generating the power?
Sir, it is 11 kV to 17 kV.
Yes, yes. This is around 11 kV. And which type of machine generally we use?
The synchronous generator.
Alternator.
So I think you have the working idea about the working principle of the alternator. Okay. Now the power is generated at the generating station using some alternator. Okay. Now another thing is that these power plants are generally located at certain remote places, because if you consider Kolkata, it is quite difficult to set up a power plant inside the Kolkata, because you require a lot of space. Not only that, it is quite risky to develop a power plant or power generating station inside the city. So what you can do, you can make a setup of power generating station outside city, that means in a remote place. Now this power is transmitted to the locality using some certain procedures. Like we use overhead transmission line for transmitting the power from generating station to our locality. Or you can say underground cable. We sometimes use underground cable. I think, have you seen the overhead transmission line? Have you seen it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, we can use underground cable for transmitting the generated power from that generating station to the places where it is required. Now, question is, at which voltage we should transmit the power? That means the voltage at which the power is being generated, that voltage we should generate the power, or we should make some changes while we are transmitting the power. That is a big question. Okay. Now, generally, before proceeding the answer of this question, another thing you should know that in our basic electrical class, we have already studied the single phase system as well as three-phase system. And you know, in single phase system, we use two-wire system. That means one wire is for live and another is the grounded wire or neutral wire. But if you consider the three-phase system, we generally, depending upon the connection of this system, the number of wire can be three or four. That means if you consider the star connected system, you know, in star connected system we have three phase as well as a neutral line. So we require 4 lines. If we consider the delta connection system, then you require 3 connecting wire or 3 lines. Okay. Now, coming to that, I was asking which procedure should be taken while we are transmitting the power. That means should we transmit the power at high voltage, or should we transmit the power at low voltage, or should we transmit the power at which the power has been generated? What will be your answer?
High voltage.
Sir, at high
I will
voltage.
understand.
High voltage. Okay. So generally we transmit the power at high voltage. And why we transmit the power at high voltage? That means what are the advantages behind transmitting the power at high voltage? That we shall discuss. But before that, I would just like to ask you, you know, the voltage, power is generated at a certain voltage that you have already told me. We use alternator, and using alternator, we generally generate the voltage around 11 kV. Okay. Now, if you want to increase the voltage level, which instrument we should use to?
Transformer, sir. Transformer.
The step up transformer.
So
Step up
definitely,
transformer.
yeah. So you require a step up transformer. So you should have a step up transformer at the generating station. Using this step up transformer, you can increase the voltage level of the system. Okay. Now, as we have discussed, we can increase the voltage level while we are transmitting the power. Okay, then we transmit it. 1 second. Guys, I just would like to say one thing. Today is the first class, that's why I am just allowing you to enter the class. From the next day onwards, just try to join my class before 12 o'clock, before the scheduled time actually. Because if you try to join my class once the classes has been started, so it is quite disturbing. Okay, please don't do that. If you are late, don't try to join my class. Okay. So yeah, I was telling that, or I was discussing that we generally prefer to transmit the power at high voltages. Now, question is why? What are the advantages while transmitting the power at high voltages? Let's see. First of all, if you consider the overhead transmission line, and if you for the timing, just consider we are transmitting the three-phase system or three-phase power actually. Okay. So if we transmit the power using overhead transmission line, okay, now your transmission line should have some cross-section area. Now, if your transmission line's cross-section area increases, definitely amount of or volume of the material will also be increased, and that may increases your cost. Now, question is, if we transmit the power at high voltage, will the cross-section area of the transmission line will be decreased, or it does not have any effect on the cross-section area? So let's check it. Okay. Now, while we are transmitting the three-phase power, definitely power equal to, we know, P equal to V into I. That means voltage into current. You know, while in the transmission line, it has certain resistance value. So once the current is flowing through the transmission line, due to the resistance, there will be certain losses in the transmission line. I think you have idea about the losses. I square R loss. What is it named? I square R loss. What is it called?
Copper loss, sir.
Copper loss. Yeah. So we can say while the power is transmitting through the overhead transmission line, there will be some copper loss in the transmission line. And how much is the copper loss for three-phase system? That can be calculated using this expression 3I square R. Okay. Now,
Sir?
yeah.
Sir, why should we call it copper loss? Because the transmission lines are made of aluminium, so
No,
it
that
may
is
be
the
called as
moment.
heat loss. Will be better name.
Yeah,
sir.
heat loss you can say, but it's since it's a nomenclature, and we that's why we say it copper loss actually, nothing else.
Okay.
You can say it is a heat loss. You can say also that there is no error, but it is a convention. That's why we say it is a copper loss. Okay. Anyway, so transmission loss is equal to 3I square R. Now, you are generating some power and you are transmitting that power, and among this transmitted power, some fraction of that power is being lost as a heat. Okay, so we can say the amount of power which is being lost. Okay, let's consider X is the fraction of that transmission loss. So X can be defined as that power loss under rated load divided by how much power you are supplying to the consumer's end. That means power loss divided by power supplied. Is that clear? Okay. Now, power loss. Power loss, we have already calculated the expression 3I square R. Now, how much is the power supplied? That we know. For a three-phase system, three-phase system, the total amount of power 3 V phase I phase into cos phi. What is cos phi? Cos phi is the power factor. Do you understand power factor?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And if I ask you, how is the nature of power factor in case of transmission line? What will be your answer?
Lagging.
Lagging, sir.
Lagging, sir. Lagging.
Back, because in for transmission line, the
Most of the loads are inductive.
Capacitance is negligible.
Is negligible. Okay. So that can be written as 3 V phase I phase cos phi, or we can say √3 VL IL cos phi. Now, as we are not concerned, we are not bothered about the current, and we are just trying to correlate with the amount of material with the voltage level in order to investigate whether the power transmission at high voltages is advantageous or not. That's why from this equation we have eliminated the current IL. That means IL equal to P by √3 VL into cos phi. Okay. So in transmission loss expression, that means 3IL square R, we have replaced IL in terms of P by √3 VL into cos phi. So, and we have done modification, and you can say the final expression comes as a P square R divided by VL square cos square phi. So now R equal to nothing but the resistance, that can be written as rho L by A. So P square rho L by A divided by VL square cos square phi. Is it okay, or should I derive that expression? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, so from the expression, from that expression X was defined as that power loss under rated load divided by power supply. So power loss we have already calculated, that is equal to 3I square R, and that has been calculated P square into rho L by A divided by VL square cos square phi, and that has been put at the numerator of this expression X. So P square rho L divided by 3 VL square cos square phi divided by P. So P will be cancelled out, and the final expression will come as an P rho L divided by A VL square cos square phi. Okay. And from here, you can calculate A equal to, from here, A equal to X VL square cos square phi. Okay, so A will be equal to P rho by L divided by X VL square cos square phi. So we have calculated the expression of the A is cross section area of the transmission line. So we have calculated the expression for the cross-section area of the transmission line, that means A. And you know, if you want to calculate the volume of that copper, so a volume will be equal to A into L, that is equal to volume. And as we are, let's consider, we are considering 3-wire 3-phase system. So the volume of the copper, V, will be equal to 3 into AL. So the expression of A we have already derived. So your final expression will come as a 3P rho L square divided by X VL square cos square phi. So from here you can see that volume of the copper while you are transferring the power from generating station to the consumer's end is inversely proportional to the voltage level. That means if you increase the voltage level, that means if you are transmitting the power at higher voltage level, then your volume of copper required for the transmission line will be reduced. And as you know, or as we know that as the volume of the copper is decreasing, so we can say the cost of the copper will also be decreased. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is the one major advantage of transmitting the power at high voltage. That means if you transmit the power at high voltage, your volume of the copper will be decreased. That means your cost will be decreased. First one. Number two is that with the increment of the transmission voltage, the size of the conductor is also reduced. Definitely, that means as your volume of the copper is reducing, so we can say the size of the conductor is being reduced. Number three is that, you know, while we are considering the power, P is nothing but the multiplication of P into I. If we can keep that cos phi as a constant, because cos phi, if cos phi value becomes very small and it does not change too much, then we can say power equal to P into I. So for a given amount of power that is transmitted from generating station to the consumer's end, if your voltage levels is high, so definitely your line current will be reduced. Okay. And you know, as the line current is reducing, due to the reduction of the line current, there are certain advantages. What are the advantages? First of all, your heat loss will be decreased, because heat loss is dependent on the I square R, that means the line current. Okay. Number two, your voltage regulation. Voltage, what do you mean by voltage regulation? Voltage regulation is that receiving end voltage is dependent on the receiving end voltage and the transmission sending end voltage. That means the differences between receiving end voltage and sending end voltage, it actually determines the voltage regulation. Now, if your current becomes high, then what will happen? The voltage drop across the transmission line will also be increased. As your voltage drop is increasing, the voltage regulation will be poor. So you understand the voltage regulation?
Yes, sir.
So this is the another advantage of the lower magnitude of the current. That means once your current value is decreasing, and how this current value is decreasing, as you are transmitting the power at high voltages, then we can say the corresponding current value is decreasing. As the current value is decreasing, you can say the voltage drop due to the transmission line is also decreasing. That in turn makes the voltage regulation good. But if the current would have been higher, then definitely the drop would have been also higher. Then your voltage regulation would have been poor. But as we are transmitting the power at very high voltages, so we are getting very good voltage regulation. Number three, another advantage of that, as your current value is lower, we can say the energy loss is lower, so we can say that we are getting higher efficiency. Okay, that means there are minimum amount of power loss in the transmission line, so the efficiency of the transmission system is higher. So these are the advantages while you are transmitting the power at high voltages. But any system cannot have only the advantages. The system what you are discussing should have some, or you can say have some disadvantages. Likewise, you know, while you are transmitting the power at very high voltages, then your requirement of the insulation will also be increased, because the insulation, design of the insulation does not dependent on the current but depends on the voltage. As your voltage level is increasing, so your insulation cost of the terminal equipments, likewise, if you consider the transformer at the generating station site, you are generating the power at 11 kV. Now you are transmitting the power at certain high voltages. So you require a transformer who is stepping up that voltage, and in that case, the insulation for the transformer, insulation cost for the transformer will also be increased, and that may increase the overall cost of that system. So this is one main disadvantage. Number two is that as we are using the overhead transmission line, so you know, I think as you have seen the overhead transmission line, in overhead transmission line we have a tower and we have a line, and line are connected to the tower, and you know, there is a certain clearance between the transmission line and the ground, because if you do not follow that clearance level, there might be a chances of an accident. So you have to keep certain clearance between the transmission line and the ground. And you know, as your voltage level is increasing, so your clearance must be higher or larger, because if your clearance is not good enough, there might be a possibility a short circuit between ground and the overhead transmission line. So you have to put, or you have to give more clearance between the transmission line and the ground. This is number two. So you have to make the tower high, and that may increase the cost. Number three, what is the number three? Now, number three disadvantage is that, you know, for three-phase system, the separation distance between any two lines depends on the voltage level. That means if your voltage level is lower, then you can say the separation between these two lines you can keep lower. But if you are transmitting the power at high voltages, then your transmission separation distance between the two transmission line should be higher. And you know, in tower we generally use cross arm. Okay, now in order to make the sufficient distance between two lines, you have to make larger cross arm, and this is another disadvantage. So what are the disadvantages? First one was your insulation cost will be increased due to the voltage rise. Number one. Number two is that you have to make longer ground clearance with the transmission line. Number two. And number three, you have to make larger cross arm in order to keep safe distance between the transmission lines. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Another thing is that now, so we have found that if we transmit the power at high voltages, there are certain advantages and there are certain disadvantages. Okay. And among the advantages, we have found that as as we are increasing the transmission line, so we have found that the copper cost is decreasing. But in the other hand, we have seen that if we are increasing, as we are increasing the transmission line voltage, definitely your insulation cost of the terminal instrument like transformer, the insulation cost will be increased. So definitely there is a compromise. You have to make a compromise between these two. And if you draw the variation of the cost due to the copper loss or copper cost with the transmission voltage, you can see the copper cost is decreasing with the transmission voltage. Okay, and if you draw the insulation cost with the transmission line voltage, you know, as your transmission line voltage is increasing, your cost is also increasing, and that can be seen from by this straight line. So if you combine these two, you can see as your voltage level is lower, your overall cost, both due to this copper cost as well as the insulation cost, is higher. Now, as you are increasing the voltage level, your overall cost is getting decreased and it reaches a minimum value. Again, as you are further increasing your voltage level, what will happen? Your overall cost is also increased. So you can get a curve of an overall cost initially whose cost is higher, then it is decreasing and it reaches at a minimum point, again it start increasing. So we can say somehow if we can fix the transmission line voltage at this region, then we can say the overall cost of the system will be minimum. And we have based on these observations, we have derived an empirical relationship between the voltage level and at which the cost will be minimum. And that empirical relationship is equal to V equal to root under 1 plus load in kVA by 150 kV. So how much is your load in kVA? Based on that, you can decide how much should be your transmission line voltage. Okay, so that is the expression for voltage. Okay, is that clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening to me or just? I don't know. Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is the way how you can decide how much should be your voltage level while you are transmitting the power. Now, another thing is that as of now, we have discussed if we transmit the power at high voltages, then we have some certain advantages. Now, another question is that we are generating the power, AC power. That means the voltage signal, voltage nature is AC. Now, question is, should we transmit the AC high voltages or DC high voltage transmission line? The question is, should we transmit the power using DC high voltage transmission line or using AC transmission line, AC high voltage transmission line? What will be your answer?
DC.
Sir, it depends on distance between load center and generating station.
Load center and generating station. Okay.
AC, sir.
So, AC. Okay. So let's
step down and stepping up will be easier for the AC.
Step down and stepping up will be easier for AC. Okay. So let's discuss one by one. First of all, let's see if we transmit the power using DC mechanism, then what are the advantages we can get? Okay, first of all, you know, while we are transmitting the power using DC mechanism or DC system, you know, in DC system there is no RMS value, peak value, etc., concept. But while you are considering the AC system, you have to consider the RMS value, the peak value, etc. And I have already informed you that while we are considering the AC system or DC any system, then while we are considering the insulation of a system, that insulation design depends on the peak value of a current signal. That means if we consider the AC signal, you have to consider the peak value of that AC system. So for DC system, as there is no such concept, you can design the insulation system based on that magnitude. But if you consider the AC system, as your RMS value and peak value are not equal and peak value is higher than the RMS value, then you have to design the insulation system of instrument based on the peak value. So your insulation cost will be higher. Have you got my point?
Yes, sir.
So this is number one. Advantages of DC high voltage transmission line. Number two is that in case of AC, the corona loss, do you understand corona loss? What is corona loss? Do you understand that? Anyone has any idea about the corona loss?
Yes,
There are faint violet glow occurring in high voltage transmission line with a hissing noise.
No. Why this violet color is generated or developed?
So due to the ionization of the
Ionization
yes,
of
due to the
surrounding
ionization
transmission
of the
line.
nearby medium. Yes.
Yeah. So what happens? There is a transmission line. Okay, and you know, in transmission line, air acts as an insulation system because it is a natural thing. So we use air as an insulation system. Now, while you are transmitting a power at a certain voltage, what happens? The air adjacent to the transmission line get ionized due to this higher voltages. Okay. And due to this ionization, what happens? A hissing sound is developed as well as a glowish light is also developed. And this phenomena is known as the corona. And due to this corona, what happens? Your power loss will occur in the transmission line, as well as it can interfere the other radio signal, etc. So if you consider the DC system and AC system, in case of AC, as your peak value is higher than the RMS value, you know, the corona loss will be higher in case of AC system. But in case of DC system, as it has a steady value, its corona loss will be lower. And you know that due to this corona, the radio interferences for the AC system will be higher, whereas the radio interferences for the DC system will be lower. So this is the another advantage of using DC high voltage system. Number three is that if you consider the AC system and DC system, like if you consider transmission line or underground cable, you know, have you seen the underground cable? Has anyone seen the underground cable? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what are the insulation system used in the case of underground cable? Do you have any idea on this? Okay. So let's try to understand that. Generally, likewise, unlike the overhead transmission line, in case of underground cable, it is laid inside the soil. So you know the potential of the soil is 0, and we are transmitting the power at very high voltage. So there is a huge voltage differences between the transmission conductor as well as the soil. Now, in order to protect or in order to withstand that voltage, generally we use cross-linked polyethylene, sometimes oil paper insulation, etc., as an insulating material. Okay. Now, if we consider, or if suppose we are transmitting the power using underground cable. Okay. Now, what happens if we use the AC system? As there is a high voltage conductor and ground, and between these there is the insulation. So you know this high voltage conductor and ground and the insulation, this combination will act as a capacitor. Because in capacitor, in basic capacitor, you have found that there is a high voltage end, there is a ground end or the low voltage end, and between these two plates there is an insulation. So if you consider the overhead transmission line or underground cable, in overhead transmission line, you know the transmission line has certain voltage and ground potential is 0. In between these two there is air. Similarly, if you consider the underground cable, the line has a certain voltage, there is a soil whose potential is 0. So in between these two there is an insulation. So there will be a capacitor developed in the transmission line as well as the underground cable. As there is a capacitor, if you consider the AC signal, so what AC system, what will happen? The charging current, continuous charging current will be present in the AC system. But if you consider the DC system, in case of DC system, there will be no continuous charging current in the system. And that is the advantage for using DC system than AC system. Okay. Number 4, there is a skin effect. Now I am asking you, what is skin effect for AC system? Anyone has any idea? Skin effect?
Sir, in AC systems, in transmission line, while the current starts flowing through the surface of the conductor and it acts like a hollow conductor. This effect is known as skin effect.
Everyone knows that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think you have already started. You already started. Okay, due to the flux linkage to that to the conductor, what happens? The generally outer layer reactance becomes lower than the inner layer reactance, so current will flow. That means non-uniform distribution of the current through the transmission line. Okay, and your effective resistance actually increases, so power loss will be higher, and that effect is known as the skin effect. But there is no skin effect in case of DC system. So this is another advantage. And another thing is that, you know, you have already studied, if you consider the transmission line system, definitely your current is always lagging to that voltage, you know, because this is the RL circuit. Okay. And based on that current lagging, if you draw the phasor diagram of the receiving end voltage and the sending end voltage, you can find there is a certain angle differences between the receiving end voltage and sending end voltage, and that depends on the value of capacitance and inductance present in the circuit, generally primarily inductance. But in case of DC system, there is no such problem. So that is another advantage of using DC system. Okay. Another thing is that your DC system does not require any reactive compensation. You know what is reactive compensation? You know that? Anyone has any idea about the reactive compensation?
Sir, sometimes at no load at the receiving end, the receiving end voltage is greater than the
higher than the
sending end voltage.
What is it called? What is it
Ferranti
called?
effect.
Ferranti effect. Exactly. And what is the outcome? What is the consequences of that Ferranti effect? Do you know that? What is the consequences? What is the effect of this Ferranti effect? You know that as your receiving end voltage is increasing, definitely it will hamper or it will affect the insulation of an instrument, because as I mentioned, the insulation system is designed based on the particular voltage, so it may affect the insulation of the system, and that Ferranti effect, the output of the Ferranti effect, is categorized in the overvoltage of the high voltage system. Overvoltage, you know, in power system the overvoltage occurs. There are different reasons behind that overvoltage, and Ferranti effect is one of them. So we do not want that effect comes to the transmission line. That's why we always try to compensate the reactive power. And in case of DC system, you don't require such reactive compensation. You just only concentrate on the active power. There is no reactive power required in case of DC system. Another thing is that you have to synchronize the AC system, because there should be a synchronization of the AC system. Because what does it mean? Suppose you are generating the power using different generating system, like you are feeding the power from a hydel power station, you are feeding the power from a thermal power station, you are feeding the power from a nuclear power station. So you should have some synchronization among them, otherwise there will be some problem. But if you consider the DC system, you don't need any synchronization. So that is the another advantage of using DC system. Okay, and finally another thing is that while in DC system, as there is no frequency concept, so you don't need to worry about the frequency. But if you consider the some interconnected system, then you have to, for AC system, then you have to worry about the frequency. Because suppose if you consider the frequency of one system is 50 Hz and the frequency of other system is 49.5 Hz, then there might be a problem. You have to have the frequency of every system must be equal. Okay, otherwise there might some problem. So these are the advantages of using DC system over AC system. So do you have some time? No, I think it is 12:57. So that's all for today. We shall discuss about the disadvantages in the next class. If you have any question, you may ask me. Otherwise, I will go for the attendance. Okay, so I can understand that you don't have any question. And another thing, that our next class will be in tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Okay. So Orunim Poddar.
Present, sir.
Debargo Nundi.
In, sir.
Somodip Das.
Present, sir.
Rishabh Borua.
Present, sir.
Mohammad Zahiruddin.
Present, sir.
Ankit Karji.
Present, sir.
Shogato Mistry. Sankotip Ghosh. Anusmit Saha. Isika Ghosh.
Yes, sir.
Srirupa Dotto. Srijan Mondol.
Present, sir.
Swapnil Dasengupta.
Yes, sir.
Vidipta Roy.
Yes, sir.
Shaurya Sarkar.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Kollal Dotto.
Present, sir.
Aniket De.
Yes, sir.
Satyajit Jana.
Present, sir.
Biswajit Rajak.
Present, sir.
Jakwan Sahir Siddiqui.
Yes, sir.
Rizwan Ahmed Sheikh.
Present, sir.
Yas Bajoria.
Present, sir.
Soposachi Hembrom.
Present, sir.
Subhasis Hawk.
Present, sir.
सुदीप्त कारक नहीं, अभिषेक घोषाल
Yes, sir.
जीनो लेंडुप नामचू उज्जवल मंडल अनिता कुमारी प्रणय प्रामाणिक विनय सरकार
Present, sir.
पार्थ हाजरा राहुल दास राजकुमार चौधरी
Yes, sir.
अहोना घोष
Yes, sir.
अनिश साहा
Present, sir.
अर्पण चाकी
Yes, sir.
अर्पण मंडल
Present, sir.
सोहम मंडल
Present, sir.
अनिमेश दास
Present, sir.
विकास बर्मन
Yes, sir.
इमानुल हक